welcome to Sunday School for our last Sunday talking about Joseph. We're going to start off with our song, Everywhere I Go, but before we do that, we want to warm our voices up. So you can help me out by, every time I hold up this face, saying, all right! Miss Jane and Miss Gail are going to do that with me. Ready?
All right!
And whenever I show this face, you're going to say, oh no! Ready?
Oh no!
Okay, so here we go. Joseph's father Jacob loved him very much and gave him a special coat.
All right!
But that special coat made Joseph's brothers feel kind of sad and maybe even a little bit jealous.
Oh no!
So one day when Joseph had a dream, he dreamed that the sheaves or bundles of grain bowed down before him, his brother's sheaves and bundles of grain. And then he had another dream where the sun and the moon and the stars bowed down before him, and he felt very important.
All right!
But when he told his brothers and his dad about his dreams, they thought he was being a little full of himself, and they got a little bit mad.
Oh no!
So one day, Joseph's dad sent him on an errand to look after his brothers and see how they were doing. And Joseph felt really good to have a special job from his dad.
All right!
But when he got there, his brothers said, we don't like Joseph very much. We're going to throw him in a pit.
Oh no!
And even worse than that, they decided to sell Joseph off. They enslaved him.
Oh no!
But when Joseph got to Egypt, he was actually bought by Potiphar, who was an official in the king or Pharaoh's court. And Potiphar, even though Joseph was a slave, treated him fairly well and eventually put Joseph in charge of his whole house.
All right!
But one day, Potiphar's wife told a lie about Joseph, and Joseph got thrown into prison.
Oh no!
But Joseph worked hard in prison, and God looked after Joseph in prison, and after a while, Joseph was in charge of everything inside the prison.
All right!
Then one day, Pharaoh's butler and baker came to Joseph and they said, we've had dreams we don't understand. Can you help us with the dreams? And Joseph said, sure, God's the one who helps us understand dreams. I'll help you with that. And Joseph told them the meaning of their dreams. And Joseph was right.
All right!
But when Pharaoh's butler went back to work for Pharaoh, he forgot all about Joseph and didn't help Joseph get out of prison.
Oh no!
But one day, Pharaoh had two dreams that he couldn't figure out. And then the butler remembered Joseph. And Joseph came and listened to Pharaoh tell the meaning of his dreams. And Joseph was right. And Pharaoh put Joseph in charge of all the grain in his country so that, as Joseph said, during the 7 years of plenty, they would save grain for the 7 years of drought and famine. So now Joseph is in Egypt and he's in charge, just under Pharaoh.
All right!
So that's where we've come so far with our story about Joseph. And we've been talking about the way God is with Joseph throughout the story. We've been talking about that with our song, Everywhere I Go, the Lord is with me. So we're going to sing through the first couple of verses, and then we're going to come to a third verse, and I want you to listen carefully and tell me if it's the same or different. Here we go. Everywhere I go, the Lord is with me. When I call for help, I know God hears me. this verse and tell me if the melody is the same or different. God is with me day by day. God will be my strength and stay. From God's path I will not stray, but follow in God's way. What do you think, Miss Jane and Miss Gail? Is it the same or different?
Different.
That's right, it's different. So I'm going to sing a phrase and then I want you to sing it after me. God is with me day by day. God is with me day by day. God will be my strength and stay.
God will be my strength and stay.
From God's path I will not stray, but follow in God's way.
From God's path I will not stray, but follow in God's way.
Good job. So that's different. Now we're going to do the last two verses, and I want you to tell me if it's like the beginning of the song or the verse we just did. In the coming days of joy or sadness, I will praise God's name with songs of gladness. For to me it's clear that the Lord is near everywhere I go. So is that like the beginning of the song or the new verse that we did?
Beginning.
Oh, y'all are so good. All right, now we're going to sing the very last verse, which guess what? The words are exactly the same as the first verse. Here we go. Everywhere I go, the Lord is with me.
When I call for help, I know God hears me.
Here we go. I can turn the page.
Never will I fear, for the Lord is near everywhere I go.
All right, we're going to do one more thing. We're going to sing that very first verse, and this time, instead of patting the beat on our bodies, I'm going to clap the rhythm. And see if you can clap along with me. The rhythm is the way the words go. Here we go.
Everywhere I go, the Lord is with me. When I call for help, I know God hears me. Never will I fear, for the Lord is near everywhere I go.
Nice. Thanks a lot. And now, Miss Jane is going to read the next part of our story for us.
Good morning. As we continue with our story, I wonder what happens with Joseph and his brothers. In Canaan, times were hard for Jacob, Joseph's father, and his family. He decided to send his sons, all except for Benjamin, to Egypt, where corn was for sale. So Joseph's brothers stood before him and, not recognizing him, asked if they might buy some corn. Joseph knew them at once and decided to see if they were still as cruel as they used to be. Pretending to think that they were spies, he had them thrown in prison. 3 days later, he told them to return home and bring back their youngest brother. Joseph loved Benjamin and very much wanted to see him again. Joseph kept one brother behind to make sure that the others would return. Joseph ordered his servants to fill his brothers' bags with corn before they set off for home. Back in Canaan, the brothers told Jacob everything, but he refused to let Benjamin go. He was terrified of losing another son. Eventually, the corn ran out. Judah begged his father to let them return to Egypt, promising to look after Benjamin. Finally, Jacob agreed, and so the brothers came once again to Joseph, who had to fight back tears when he saw Benjamin. "Is your father well?" he asked them. As they replied, they bowed low to him, just like the corn sheaves had bowed down in Joseph's dream so many years before. Joseph ordered food to be brought in and told the servants that Benjamin was to be given more than anyone else. Then the brothers' sacks were filled with food. This time, Joseph had his own silver cup hidden in Benjamin's bag. The brothers set off, but Joseph sent his guards after them to look for the missing cup. Horrified at the discovery of the cup, the brothers went back to Joseph and threw themselves at his feet. "The man in whose sack my cup was found must stay here as my servant. The rest of you can go," Joseph commanded. "Let me stay instead," begged Judah. "Father will die of grief if Benjamin doesn't return." Now Joseph was sure that his brothers had changed. He sent the servants out of the room, burst into tears, and announced, "I am Joseph." His brothers stood shocked and terrified. "It was God's plan that I was sent here to Egypt," Joseph told them, "so that I would be in a position to look after you when difficult times came. There are still 5 more years of famine to come. You must go home and bring the rest of the family here to live near me." Joseph hugged Benjamin, then the rest of his brothers, as tears of joy streamed down his face. So Jacob and all of his family, the children of Israel, left Canaan and came to live in Egypt. There, Jacob was reunited with his much-loved son Joseph. Jacob settled comfortably in Goshen, the best part of Egypt, and lived to be a great age. That was a happy ending, wasn't it?
So, our Wonder Box is back this week. So we've been listening to the story about Joseph and his brothers, and how his brothers had to come to Egypt to get food, and they didn't even know who really was Joseph. But there was a happy ending to that story. So I wonder what's in the Wonder Box today that relates to this story for us. Let's take a look and see. Well, now this is unusual. I've got 2 pink pieces. I wonder what we're supposed to do with this. No, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Look! If we put them together, we have a heart. But when they're not together, they're a broken heart. Now, broken heart is an expression that we use sometimes when we're very sad, or something has hurt us badly. Now, we know our heart doesn't really break. That can't happen, and besides it would be very messy. But it's because we associate, or we link our hearts to a lot of our emotions. We've been talking about emotions today. And sometimes when we've had a fight with somebody that we really, really like and we're not talking to them anymore, or maybe when a friend has moved very far away and we don't get to talk to them very often, we feel like our heart has broken. We feel very sad. In fact, sometimes we almost really have a pain here. And that's why we call it a broken heart. But when things work out well, and maybe we resolve that fight, and we get back together and we kiss and make up, then our heart comes back together and we're happy again. Now, how do you think this broken heart might relate to our story of Joseph? Let's think about it. Let's see. Let's go back to the very beginning.
Joseph's brothers threw him in a pit, and then they sold him off, and he went off to Egypt. How do you think Joseph felt about that? Do you think his heart maybe was broken because his brothers really didn't love him, and he was very far away from his family and his father? I think that might be the case. And what about Joseph's father? How do you think he felt? His favorite son was far, far away. In fact, he thought his favorite son was dead. So, his heart was broken. He was so very, very sad. But remember, there's a happy ending to this story. Joseph's brothers came to Egypt. Joseph recognized who they were. Eventually, he told them who he was. They went back, they got his father, they brought his father there, and the whole family got back together, and they lived in Egypt until after the famine was over. I think maybe that broken heart got put back together again.
We've been talking about Joseph and his brothers. We've been talking about a big word to describe their relationship or how they got along with each other. At the beginning of the story, you remember Joseph's brothers did not like him at all, and maybe Joseph had been a little bit of a pain by bragging and tattling and saying how important he was. Anyway, they didn't get along with each other, and they didn't agree. They hurt each other. And so, like Miss Gail showed us, it was like their heart had been broken apart. Their love for each other had been broken apart. It took lots and lots of years for them to come back together again. But when they did, then they had what we call reconciliation. That big word, our faith word for this 3 weeks about Joseph. Let's say it together. Reconciliation. Ready?
Reconciliation.
That means bringing peace between people who have disagreed. Now, reconciliation often happens because we are willing to forgive somebody who hurts us, or maybe we hurt someone and they're willing to forgive us. So we've been doing that song about forgiveness. I forgive you, for God forgives me. Then we can live in harmony. I forgive you, for God forgives me. Then we'll be living in love. How about we sing it together once out loud, and then we'll sing it again inside our heads. Here we go. I forgive you, for God forgives me. Then we'll be living in harmony. I forgive you, for God forgives me. Then we'll be living in love. Let's sing it out loud together one more time. Here we go. I forgive you, for God forgives me. Then we'll be living in harmony. I forgive you, for God forgives me. Then we'll be living in love. All right. And for our spiritual practice today, we're not going to breathe. We're not going to blow bubbles like we did last week, but we're going to do something else. We're going to do something with our hands. Here's something you can do with your body and your hands to help you whenever you get mad at somebody else or when you feel like you need to work so that you can have reconciliation with that person. So the first thing is to think when you're mad, stop. Can you do that with me? Stop. Just wait, take time, breathe deeply, think before you speak or use your hands to hurt somebody else. Stop. The next thing
is to speak kindly. So imagine the words coming out of your mouth and they come out of your heart kindly. So if somebody's mean to you or you've been mean to somebody else, maybe you say, speak kindly. Say words that help everybody calm down. And finally, this means sorry. Sometimes we need to say, I'm sorry, forgive me, or we need to let the other person say, sorry, forgive me. So let's try all three together. Ready? Stop. Stop. Then speak kindly. And finally, sorry. We're going to do it without saying anything. We hope you have a really good week with your families, your friends, and that God will be with you, that God will help you to remember to stop, speak kindly, and say you're sorry. That God will help us have reconciliation with one another, just like Joseph and his brothers found reconciliation. See you next week. Let's take it away with a song from Sunday School a couple of years ago. You might remember it. God had a plan for Joseph.
Joseph was his father's favorite son. Jacob loved him more than anyone. Joseph got a coat with colors bright. From his father it was quite a sight. God had a plan for Joseph, had it all along. God would make things better when they seemed all wrong. God had a plan for Joseph to help his family. God had a plan for Joseph. God has a plan for me. All the brothers started to get mad, and they took the coat that Joseph had. They forgot how people should behave when they sold their brother as a slave. God had a plan for Joseph, had it all along. God would make